past games. Yeah, oh, never mind. You're right.
Alrighty, so is Isaac Guerendo going to be the difference maker in fantasy for many league managers this week? Is Saquon Barkley the runaway player favorite for offensive player of the year? And who else in a very small pool of players this week should you pick up this week? As many of you are looking to be in matchups that determine whether or not you make the playoffs or not in your league. So who are we going to find out, and how historic were some of the performances we saw during this past week in fantasy football? Well, you're going to find the answers to all of that as we do week number 14 of Fantasy Football Fever in 2024, and it starts right now. And hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy Football Fever. It is week 14 of the NFL season. Hard to believe that we have made it to the regular season finale of the 2024 fantasy football season for so many people. So, my name is John Flynn. Tim McClellan is not going to be with us tonight. I believe this is the first time since this podcast started that Timmy has not been available for an episode, which I think is crazy. So,
wow, that's right. Yeah.
So I will be doing the hosting duties tonight. Of course, you know me from the hosting duties I do over on Hooked on Sports. So I'm John Flynn, joined by the Fantasy Football Fever League Commissioner to my right, John Natale. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, I can't believe this. Last week. Yeah, pretty soon we can officially talk about playoffs. Not yet, but next week.
Yeah, but most definitely. So, we have a lot of different things to get into this week, but first we had a wild week 13, crazy performances, flirting with records, historic performances, something we haven't seen from a tight end in 63 years. So we're going to get into that, and so why don't you start us off, Natale, by running through some of the all 16 games this week, because we have a lot to get into.
Oh yeah, but we're gonna start off with the first Thanksgiving Day game that was played. That was between the Lions and the Bears. This was a back and forth battle. The Lions were favored by a lot more, but yeah, I somehow predicted them to get the spread. I got the Bears right on the spread there. I think Lions were favored by like 4.5 or something, and
yeah, they were 9.5 point favorites in that game, and the Bears covered.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person out of the three of us that got that right.
Yes.
Yeah, thinking that was a division rivalry game, I anticipated that game to be very close, and that turned out to be the case.
Yeah, but I mean, it was another good game for I mean we'll get into into the sequence of events that was the final nail on the call for Matt Eberflus, but all things considered, I thought the Bears played pretty well offensively.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because their top performer here, Caleb Williams had an amazing game. He had 256 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. 2 of those was a bit of a surprise. It wasn't DJ Moore that got most of the touchdowns. It was Keenan Allen. And he got 2 out of those 3 touchdowns, the other being DJ Moore. Keenan Allen went 5 catches, 73 yards. DJ Moore, although the most targeted, he had less touchdowns, 8 catches for 97 yards.
Yeah, and DJ Moore had 16 targets on Thursday night and on Thursday afternoon, and that was a career high for DJ Moore in a single game. So a previous high of 15 he had in a game in 2019 when he was still with Carolina. But second week in a row, both DJ Moore and Keenan Allen scored 20+ points in PPR format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although the running didn't do so well. DeAndre Swift only had 39 rushing yards. Well, actually, he was the only running back that did rushing. Caleb Williams did the rest of the rushing.
That enhanced Caleb Williams' performance with the 39 rushing yards that he was able to pick up.
Yeah, and yet, despite the Bears having better numbers on the passing game, they somehow still lost because Jared Goff, he came close to matching it, 221 yards with 2 touchdowns. The running game did pretty well. Jahmyr Gibbs, a really big average here. He averaged 9.67 yards a carry, 9 carries for 87 yards.
And also to think that David Montgomery got the boatload of the workload. He had 21 carries for 88 yards, I believe. So
yes,
so the Lions did a very concerted effort, and they let Jahmyr Gibbs explode with more explosive plays.
Yeah. Now here's some kind of unusual numbers here from the receiving side. Despite Sam Laporta having the least amount of receiving yards, he got both of the touchdowns.
I mean, that was completely absurd. But it feels like it's so on brand for Laporta that this year that let's face it, it was a sophomore slump. I think so. I mean, some league managers were kind of duped by the performance of Laporta last year. That.
Mm-hmm.
That he was the first tight end taken off the board, and personally I don't regret the pick because picking Sam Laporta when I did it was just that the Lions are so dominant on the ground that they use the Sonic and Knuckles duo of Gibbs and Montgomery to win games.
Yep. Other than Sam Laporta, nothing too flashy. Amon-Ra St. Brown had the most yards, 5 catches for 73. Everybody else, nothing too significant.
Yeah. Can we talk about that last sequence at the end? Because so the Bears have one timeout that they have 25 seconds left, and
right,
and it's instead of taking the timeout, that the Bears just let the clock roll. Because the previous play was finished in bounds.
Yeah, they should just went for the Hail Mary there. They're too far away for a field goal.
It would have been like, I mean, I guess because it's 4 field, because you can do 60-yard field goals in a heartbeat there, but I can't believe that happened. And that was the final nail in the coffin for Betty
Eberflus. Yep. Yeah, I think that stupid play caused him to get fired right there and there.
Yeah, 5-19 in 1-score games as the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
Ugh.
All right, I guess that's it for the first game. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right, just gotta get back here a bit. Let's see. All right, so our second Thanksgiving Day game. Oh boy, not a lot to say about this. Well, actually, no, the Giants actually played better than I expected.
Yeah, I think all things considered, I mean, the loss against Tampa last week was just a flat out ugly, but there was some effort in this. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't totally hopeless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, their best playing was in the fourth quarter. It was just too little, too late. Yeah, I mean, Locke was not really that impressive. 178 yards and an interception.
Yeah,
but however, he did salvage that by getting a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
And then Tyrone Tracy was pretty solid too, despite his fumble. 9 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and he had 33 receiving yards through the air. So 65 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. So wasn't too bad overall, but the fumbles have been killing Tyrone Tracy all season, and the Giants running backs all season, really.
Oh yeah. On the receiving side, nothing too flashy. I mean, despite Theo Johnson having a decent game, he got placed on IR.
And Dexter Lawrence is on IR too. His season's done too. He would have been first team All Pro if he stayed healthy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Other than that, the only other flashy player was Malik Neighbors, 8 receptions for 69 yards.
And he also had 4 rushing yards, so he wound up with 15 points. You know, Malik Neighbors hasn't scored a receiving touchdown in a while, right?
Oh wow, yeah. What was it like since week 3 or something? Or?
I think week 3, yes.
Yeah, I know he missed a couple games, but yeah, then again, yeah. Wow.
Then again, the story of the 2024 Giants, but on Dallas' side, Rico Dowdle was the fantasy star of this game, 112 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Yep. I see that right here. Yeah, and then oddly enough, nothing too crazy on the receiving side. Nothing too flashy. It was a running back who did the most receiving yards. Kevontae Turpin.
Yeah.
4 catches for 53.
But a big fantasy story was that CeeDee Lamb left the game late in the second half because of that shoulder issue that had been bothering him for most of the season. Now Jerry Jones said that the gap between the games is wide enough for CeeDee Lamb to be able to go for next Monday night, but that's going to remain to be seen if he'll be able to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other than that, I don't see anything too big left to talk about on here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the last Thursday night game. Let's see, go back. Got to keep hitting my back button here. Okay. And the final Black Friday game was the Dolphins and the Packers. So this one was basically a bloodbath right here.
Yeah, the big one of the big questions I was looking at all season was how the Packers were going to use their receivers during the game and in the red zone, and it looks like Jaden Reed's been looked at the most in the red zone, while Christian Watson's been getting a lot of volume because. Because the volume wasn't as high for Watson as it was, like a couple of weeks ago, but he did have a couple of catches for 67 yards. But so it was about the Packers' 2 leading receivers were running back Josh Jacobs and tight end Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Dolphins side here. Ooh, this player has been hot lately. Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith was another game where he's been excellent because this is his 3rd straight game where he's had put together at least 20 fantasy points. He had 10 catches, 113 yards for the Dolphins on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think as of right now he's ranked tight end number 5.
Yeah, which is crazy. If you were to tell me that when the season started, but yeah, maybe we should all be calibrate how we value tight ends in drafts going forward after the season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll put that down as one of the lessons we learned this season.
Yeah, and looking at some other numbers here, yeah, Tua Tagovailoa. Although he had extremely solid game despite the loss, 365 yards with 2 touchdowns. Those touchdowns were Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. So the Dolphins had to throw the entire game because they were down 24-3 at halftime, and then they just had to throw it the rest of the way. It's just so they can get more plays in. But Achane with another strong performance, and Tyreek Hill suddenly has a fruitful fantasy outlook for the rest of the season.
It's always like a pattern.
Which is one of the craziest things that you said, because one of the things I stressed all off season what was when the schedule came out was how difficult Tyreek Hill's schedule was going to be for playoffs and leading into the playoffs. But now he's got a Jets team that's dead. He's got a San Francisco team that's dead and a Cleveland team that can't play defense.
Yeah.
And you figure that all those teams would be issues for the Dolphins, like Baltimore, Dallas, and the Jets were last year.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be some interesting couple weeks going forward here. So yeah, that's it for all the Thanksgiving games. Are we ready for Black Friday?
And also, Jaden Reed had 2 receiving touchdowns for Green Bay in the victory. All right.
All right, just gotta back out here. All righty. Oh, this game was surprisingly low scoring. I didn't expect this to happen, but the Chiefs narrowly beat the Raiders only by 2 points, 19-17.
Yeah. This was a very interesting game. I mean, well, we all thought 13 points spread was too much because the Chiefs had been playing like frauds and I thought the Raiders played pretty well for all intents and purposes.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that the most amount of points scored in a single quarter was 7. Look at this. Yeah, KC only had 3 points in the first, and then it was 7 in the second, 6 in the third, 3 in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders were essentially just about identical. 0, 3, 7, 7.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely the highlight here for the Raiders. Yeah, Brock Bowers, a fantastic game. He's a strong candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, you have 3 outstanding candidates for Offensive Rookie of the Year this year. We'll get into the other 2 later on, but 10 catches, 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 30.2 fantasy points.
Yeah, he also added 2 yards on a rush.
Yeah, which is the point 2. So which was the highest number by any tight end this week. So. Yeah, and he was the reason the Raiders got that close to winning because made some tough catches against Kansas City's high-level linebacking play. That was impressive.
Oh, yeah. And then looking at the other players' numbers, yeah, Aiden O'Connell, who's stepping in as the quarterback, 340 yards with 2 touchdowns. Yeah. But yeah, Trey Tucker got the other one, but he was only targeted once.
Yeah,
1 catch, 58 yards.
Yeah, 58-yard touchdown. Jacoby Myers, 11 targets, 6 receptions, 97 yards. So Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers had 14 and 11 targets respectively. The rest of the team combined only had 9.
Oof.
So, but which tells you something about both Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers going forward the rest of the season. That they're going to get heavy workloads and they're going to be utilized a lot in the passing game, but with Aiden O'Connell as the quarterback because Gardner Minshew out for the season with injury. So so if you're someone that has Brock Bowers, like me in one of my leagues, I traded for Brock Bowers about a month ago. If you have to be feeling pretty happy right now.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely glad I got him when I did. I think I got him in like round 12 or something. That was a big steal for me there.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the Chiefs side now. Say Patrick Mahomes had a decent game, 306 yards with a touchdown. That was nobody that significant. It was Justin Watson that got that one. Yeah. This game also marked the return of Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, yes, he did, but it was very, very limited activity. Seven rushing attempts for Pacheco for 44 yards, and Kareem Hunt also had 7 rushing attempts, but only for 15 yards. And they were limited in the passing game too, because the leading receivers for Kansas City were DeAndre Hopkins, 4 catches for 90 yards. Travis Kelce, 7 catches on 13 targets for 68 yards. And then Noah Gray, 6 targets, 4 catches, 58 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I see the same thing happening to Pacheco for maybe one more game, and then I think they're going to give him a lot more work. So I think this could potentially be the end for Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, and I have Pacheco in in my other league I need to win. One of my other leagues I need to win and get in, but I have because my other running backs that are available. I have Alvin Kamara and Chuba Hubbard. Now Chuba Hubbard has Philadelphia this week, while Pacheco's got the Chargers. So it's a tricky matchup, but I don't know what his volume is going to be like. So I have no choice but to start Hubbard because I have several guys on bye this week.
Ooh, yeah, we'll definitely get into that eventually.
Yep.
All right. And I guess that's it for that. Let's see. All right, now I guess we can go to the Sunday games here. Let's see what the first one is. The Chargers and the Falcons. This was, I believe, one of the two that I got wrong, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you took the Falcons in this one.
Yep. But it was a very close game and very low scoring. Chargers won this one 17-13. Let's look at the Chargers side first, I think. Let's see if my laptop will cooperate. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Justin Herbert, he didn't really do too much. He just had 147 yards. Let's see. Oh, it looks like it was like a field goal fest here. Nobody from the Chargers got a touchdown, although they won.
Is that? I mean, what is it? It was the defense / special teams that showed up for the Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only one on the Chargers that really made a massive impact was Ladd McConkey, 9 catches, 117.
Yeah, I mean, Ladd McConkey's been getting better and better as the season's come along, and we stressed him a lot. I stressed him during the draft process, I was going to mention it if I was on for the division previews for the AFC West. And now if you look at him, he's getting better and better as the season's come along, and he's carrying how he dominated at Georgia over to the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
And Ladd McConkey is the number 16 wide receiver in fantasy through the first few weeks, and it was also his second top 10 finish, his second game of 20 plus receiving yards in PPR format.
Oh, nice. All right, and then looking at the other side, very ugly game for Kirk Cousins. 245 yards and four interceptions.
Yeah, wasn't one of them taken back for a touchdown?
I think so. Let me look at the scoreboard here. Field goal, touchdown. Yep, it was a 61-yard interception return.
Yeah.
The only bright side, I would definitely not expect this player to be the one who did the most work. Ray McLeod.
Yeah.
995 receiving yards. He had the highest numbers there. Very close second was Drake London.
And how about Kyle Pitts, a goose egg on Sunday? So
yeah, I mean, to be fair, he only had 2 targets.
But still, if you put all that hype on Kyle Pitts and that's what he's gonna give you, it's not going. It's definitely not a pretty sight at all. But
true.
And also Falcons team coming off their bye week too, which is even more disappointing. And
yes, right. Good point.
And Kyle Pitts is the 7th most owned tight end in fantasy. Yeah, he's for the cumulative for the season in PPR, he's number 15. Yep.
I mean, I basically had him on my bench ever since I think week 3. I only used him that one time when the Raiders had the bye.
Yeah, and I mean, which has been a weird because in 3 of his last 4 games he hasn't finished. He's finished outside the top 33 times. So it's,
yeah. I mean, aside from Bijan Robinson, not much to say about this game at all.
yeah.
All right, let's see what the next one here is. My laptop will cooperate here. All right, one more. All right, there it is. Ooh, this one was a slugfest. The Steelers and the Bengals.
Oh yeah, what a ball game that was on Sunday.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the Steelers had a couple of fumble recoveries or interceptions for a touchdown. I'm gonna check the scoreboard here. Thought there was something there. Let's see. Okay, they had a strip sack fumble returned for a touchdown. That's what I was looking for. There we go. All right, let's look at. I'm gonna look at the Steelers numbers first. Let's see. Ooh, Russell Wilson. Woo! I think he finished with the most passing yards this week. He had 414 passing yards with 3 touchdowns and an interception.
I mean, Russell Wilson has been a revelation in Pittsburgh. I didn't know how he was going to mesh with mesh in Arthur Smith's offense. So, but he's been humming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Najee Harris had a solid day. 16 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown. He also added 6 receptions for 54 yards.
Yeah, 24.9 fantasy points for him. He was outstanding.
Yeah, and they actually utilized their third down running back. He actually got a lot of work.
Jalen Warren.
No, I was talking about Cordell Patterson. He's their third down back, and he got a lot of work in. 3 carries for 16 yards, and also added 3 receptions for 37 yards. That's a big surprise.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pat Freiermuth, he had his best game in a while. 6 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, that was his best performance of the season today.
Mm-hmm.
18.8 fantasy points in PPR formats.
Mm-hmm. And George Pickens had a fantastic game. 3 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somehow they squeezed in Justin Fields for one play.
Yeah. But I mean, I think they did that for remember they did that for one of those gadget plays to try to get the first down to run up the clock. Yep.
Let's see. All right, that's the Steelers side. Let's check the Bengals side. Oh, yeah, Joe Burrow had a pretty solid night. 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Chase Brown, 12 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, and he also lost 2 fumbles.
We're talking about Burrow. Yep, I see that right here. Yep, 2 fumbles. Yep.
Yes. So the turnovers cost him 6 points in fantasies.
Then on the receiving side, Jamar Chase was the best player overall. 6 receptions for 86 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then T. Higgins also added a touchdown.
Yeah, and then Chase Brown had 70 rushing yards and a touchdown, also 3 catches for 30 yards. So so it was a pretty wild day all throughout.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna look at something. I'm gonna check the last sequence here. Oh, never mind. Okay, nothing special, nothing significant there. Alrighty. I guess we can go to the next game. Let's see what that is. Okay. Just going to wait for this to load up. Yeah, I probably should have used the ESPN site. That's all right, though. All right, this one was a lot closer than I anticipated. Although this was my lock of the week game, the Texans surely did not play like it was a lock of the week game. They only won by 3, 23-20 over the Jaguars.
I took Jacksonville with the points because Houston hasn't been passing the eye test for the better part of a month now, and Jacksonville was coming off its bye week, so that's why I took the Jaguars with the points. But I think the three big performers in fantasy for Houston were Joe Mixon, Nico Collins, and Dalton Schultz.
Yep, I see it right here. Looking at Joe Mixon's numbers, 20 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. He also added 4 receptions for 18. And then, Nico Collins had 8 catches, 119 yards. Dalton Schultz, 5 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah,
and they also got an interception on defense, on special teams.
Yeah, and Joe Mixon. So that was Joe Mixon's 10th game playing. In 6 of those 10 games, he scored at least 21.9 fantasy points, and the Texans are 5-1 in those games.
All right, let's see here if there's anything else. Okay, let's look at the Jaguars side and see how they did.
And by the way, that was Dalton Schultz for a first game of double-digit fantasy points. He had 17.1. His first passing receiving touchdown of the season for Dalton Schultz.
That's right. Mm-hmm. All right, we're looking at the. Ooh, wait, did they take out Trevor Lawrence or did he get injured?
Remember, he got knocked out by the hit by Alshire.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, there's not much to say about there until his injury. He was 4 for 10, 41 yards and interception, and Mac Jones he played pretty well coming in, 235 yards with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, Jackson. He made it a game at the end, but it was too little, too late.
Yeah, the bright sides here was Parker Washington, 6 receptions, 103 yards and a touchdown. And then Brian Thomas Jr. with 4 receptions, 76 yards and a touchdown.
And Parker Washington was one of the top 10 receivers in fantasy last week, and he was started in 0.2% of ESPN leagues.
Yeah, he might be an interesting sleeper this week.
We'll see how they played against. He has a tough matchup against Tennessee this week because Tennessee ranks 7th in fantasy points per game allowed to receivers. So that's not going to be an easy matchup for him.
Mm-mm. All right, let's see. Yeah, and nothing else to really add here. The rushing game didn't do much. Travis Etienne only had 46 yards, and Tank Bigsby only had 28.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Let's see what the next game shows. Let's see here.
And also look who says hello.
Hey, what's up, Alex?
All right. And we have a question that we will get to once we finish up this segment. So let's keep continuing.
All right, let's see. I mean, I don't mind answering it now because we still have a lot of games left.
Yeah. So Bills defense, Cardinals defense, or Saints defense / special teams. So the Bills got the Rams this week, the Cards got Seattle, and the Saints got the artist formerly known as the New York Football Giants. In the league I need to win, I have the Texans defense on bye, and last week I picked up the Saints defense, and I'm starting them this week.
Yeah, out of this group, I think I like the Bills defense the best out of this group. But the Saints, I think, are a close second.
Yeah, so I think he's asking for. He's probably in a win or go home situation, and he needs a start for this week.
Yeah,
because perhaps his defense is off this week.
Yeah, but I still in this group, I think I like the Bills the best in this one.
Yeah. And then in PPR, James Conner or who just signed an extension, or Tony Pollard.
When Titans are playing the Jaguars. This one's a tough one. But I guess, I'm a James Conner fantasy owner, so this is kind of interesting. I have James Conner, I think, on my bench this week. Yeah. So I think for that reason, I think I'm going to go with Tony Pollard.
Yeah. So who are you starting at running back this week?
I think DeAndre Swift and what's his name? Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. It's hard to be inspired with DeAndre Swift over the last few weeks.
Yeah, but the Niners defense, I think, has been kind of shaky lately.
Yeah, but
I'm a little iffy about starting Pacheco, so that's probably.
I have to leave out Pacheco on my bench. Even though I really need to win, I just can't trust them.
Yeah, it was a true toss up for me between starting Connor or Swift. I ended up picking Swift.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the next game.
Alrighty, this one is there it is.
And also, by the way, our podcast is once again is being simulcasted on Tim McClellan's YouTube channel. So for Tim's subscribers, hello, we are filling in for him this week.
Nice. All right, the next game I have here. Oh, this one was the closest game in terms of points. The Vikings and the Cardinals. Vikings won this one 23-22.
And look who's here. It's Dino who's here.
Hey. All right, let's see.
Yeah, so we are recapping the games throughout the league last week.
Yeah, looking at the Cardinals numbers, Kyler Murray went 31 for 45, 260 yards with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Nothing too flashy here. Oh, well, Trey McBride. Look at that. Well, 12 for 12 with receptions to targets.
Trey McBride's having a fantastic season, and he's been such a stud. He's the number 2 tight end in fantasy so far this season. Yeah. And in each of the 2 games coming off of Arizona's bye week, he's had at least 12 targets. And two games in a row with 20 plus points in fantasy PPR.
I don't think he has any touchdowns yet this season, does he?
No, he does not. But he has a lot of games with 6, 7, 8, 9 targets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. had the only touchdown for them, 5 receptions for 60 yards. Maybe he's trying to come around. Possibly, we'll see. Let's see. The rushing game, nothing too significant. James Conner had 68 rushing yards. Kyler Murray, 48.
Yeah.
All right. And on the Vikings side, Sam Darnold, 235 yards with 2 touchdowns. The rushing game was basically a bust. But this is bizarre. 3 different players each had 22 yards.
Yeah.
Cam Akers and Sam Darnold did the same exact thing. 4 carries, 22 yards.
I mean, should we be concerned about Aaron Jones because in 5 of the last 6 weeks he scored fewer than 13 points in PPR settings?
Yeah, I think Dino is an Aaron Jones owner, I believe.
Yeah, I have Aaron Jones in my other league, so I'm pretty concerned about that.
Yeah. However, Jones did salvage his day by getting a receiving touchdown.
Thank God, yeah. Because because Aaron Jones also lost a fumble earlier in the game too.
Mm-hmm.
But a good way to salvage it.
Yeah, and then the backup tight end Johnny Munt had the other touchdown.
Yeah.
And then offensively, Justin Jefferson had 99 receiving yards. All right, so nothing too much about that. Let's see what the next game is. I think we're just about halfway through.
Yep. Yeah, so I think the Colts Patriots game. That was an interesting game.
Yeah. Let me see if that's next on my list. I'm just going in order of the website here. If there it goes. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that does have that. Now that you mentioned, that does happen to be the next game. Colts and the Patriots. Let's see.
Check the line here.
Yeah, and this was the classic Anthony Richardson experience. So Richardson went 12 of 24, 109 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, two interceptions, 48 rushing yards, a touchdown, and then the go-ahead 2-point conversion with 12 seconds left to give that gave the Colts a 25-24 lead.
Yeah, despite not doing much in the passing game, they somehow got the win.
Yeah,
they had a couple of touchdowns, but nothing significant. Alec Pierce got one of them, despite only getting 16 yards, and Jonathan Taylor a 7-yarder.
Yeah, a 7-yard receiving touchdown, 103 all-purpose yards for Jonathan Taylor. So he gets back into double digits after having a couple of bad down weeks against two tough rush defenses. He's back on the board, 17.3 points in PPR setting.
Yep. Yeah, Drake May had the better game despite the loss. 238 yards and a touchdown and an interception. Backup tight end Antonio Gibson got the touchdown.
Yeah.
And here's a name you don't hear every day. Austin Hooper got the touchdown on the receiving end.
Yeah. And Hunter Henry had 7 catches on 9 targets for 75 yards, while Hooper, as you just mentioned, had a receiving touchdown alongside catching all 4 of his targets for 42 yards. So, but
yep.
We'll get into that game. We'll get to their game in just a little bit. But there was, Ramondre Stevenson 12.4 and Antonio Gibson 12.2, but nothing else really to show for.
Right. All right. Let's see what the next game I have here is.
Yeah, I think it's Seattle and the Jets.
Yeah, probably. I gotta go back and see here. Yeah, I'm using the NFL.com list here.
Yeah.
I probably should use ESPN. It's a little bit more easier to navigate. Let's see. Yep, you'd be right. It's the Seahawks and the Jets. Let's see, the Seahawks did win this one 26-21. Take a look here at the numbers. Okay. All right. Yeah, Geno Smith had 206 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown was A.J. Barner. So nothing too significant there.
Yeah, but actually the best performing fantasy player for Seattle was their defense / special teams. That they had they had the they had a pick 6, the Leonard Williams pick 6. And then they had a block. They had a couple of a fumble recovery as well. It was a strong day for Seattle's defense.
Mm-hmm. On the receiving end, the best player was Jackson Smith-Njigba, 4 receptions for 74 yards. He caught all of his targets.
Yeah, and Zach Charbonnet had the go-ahead touchdown with less than 6 minutes left to give Seattle the lead for good by 12.1 points. Only his second double-digit performance in since the end of September.
All right. And looking on the Jets side, Aaron Rodgers, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Nothing too much on the rushing end. Breece Hall only had 60 rushing yards. Not much there. Devontae Adams was their best performer, 5 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown.
I think you got to be a little concerned about Breece Hall going forward here because he's got some tough matchups. Including Week 17 in Buffalo for most fantasy managers championship week.
Yep.
But the only notable bright spots for the Jets in fantasy were their defense special teams. They had the kickoff return for a touchdown in the second quarter that put them up 21-7, and then Devontae Adams with that touchdown.
Right.
So yeah, but 5 receptions on 12 targets for Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. All right. Next we have. Oh, this one was another blowout here. The Commanders and the Titans. They won 42-19.
Yeah, that was a bloodbath. But there was one big time performance in there, and that was from Nick Westbrook, Icon.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, he now has 8 receiving touchdowns so far this season, and I think only 4 of the players have more receiving touchdowns than him this season.
Oh wow, that's something interesting. Yeah, because like you said, he was their top performer. 3 receptions, 61 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Nothing much happened on the running game at all. Tony Pollard only had 35 rushing yards.
Yeah.
And
a lot and underperformance too. But Calvin Ridley only had 2 catches on 7 targets for 45 yards, and yeah, it was his lowest score, one of his lowest scoring games in a while since the quarterback change a few weeks ago.
Yep. And looking at the Commander side, Jaden Daniels, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Both running backs got involved. Brian Robinson, 103 rushing yards and a touchdown. The backup running back, Chris Rodriguez Jr., he stepped in with Antonio Gibson being out. No, wait, not Antonio Gibson. Austin Eckler, sorry. Austin Eckler, excuse me. 94 yards and a touchdown. And Jaden Daniels also added a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, another tremendous performance for Jaden Daniels. That's 2 weeks in a row he had 27.64 points in ESPN's PPR scoring, a week after a 30-point performance the week before.
Mm-hmm. And then Scary Terry added 2 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin had his best performance of the season. Fantasy wise, 8 catches, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns, 27.3 fantasy points.
Mm-hmm. And then Zach Ertz added the other touchdown for them.
Yes.
And there's a Commanders and Titans game. Let's see what's next. I know we just have a few more before we have the night games. Let's see.
So we had a couple
four more games before the nightcap. This one was closer than I anticipated. The Bucks and the Panthers. Yeah, the Bucks narrowly won this one, 26-23.
Yeah, and that was very much thanks to the legs of Bucky Irving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of which, he had 25 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown. He also added 3 receptions for 33 yards.
Yeah.
And then on the receiving end, Mike Evans was the star performer.
Failed first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm saying on the other side, Mike Evans, 8 catches, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Oh, yeah. Let's see. We'll see what happened on the Panthers side. Bryce Young, 298 yards and a touchdown. Bryce Young also added a rushing touchdown. And Adam Thielen's back. 8 catches, 99 yards and a touchdown.
Let's see. But we'll get into that in a minute. But I think the big fantasy story out of this game is Bucky Irving. So his 3rd straight top 10 finish in fantasy this week over the last few weeks. And he had favorable matchups against San Francisco, the Giants, and the Panthers, and 2 straight weeks where he scored 27 plus points.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so that's very much something to be encouraged about.
Oh yeah. And that basically does it for the Bucs side. Yeah, on the Panthers side, like I said, Bryce Young had a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. And nothing flashy from the rushing game, but Adam Thielen came back with a vengeance, 99 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. Other than that, not much to say about there. Chuba Hubbard lost a fumble. But maybe this means Jonathan Brooks might get more carries, possibly. We'll see.
Yeah, but
Other than that, not much to really say about the Panthers there.
yeah.
Let's see. What's the next game? Next on is the Rams and the Saints.
I guess everyone's going to want to hurry up and pick up that San Francisco running back.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know. We'll be talking about that in a little bit.
Right. The Rams won this one 21-14. Let's see. Looking at the numbers here from the Rams side, Matthew Stafford, 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Kyron Williams finally had a bounce back, 104 rushing yards and a touchdown. He also added a reception for 9 yards. On the receiving end, Puka Nacua was the star performer. 5 receptions, 56 yards and a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson, 2 receptions, 49 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
But yeah, nothing much from Cooper Kupp at all.
Yeah.
Check out.
Yeah, it's also nice to get Kyron Williams back on track for a couple of weeks.
But let's see. For the Saints, nothing too much happened. Derek Carr, 184 yards and a touchdown. That was made by Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's been an interesting highlight. He'll only get a couple receptions, but yet get a touchdown.
He might be worth
Yes,
that.
yeah, but guys, it's been like an all or nothing type of approach with the Saints offense this year. That you either get it or you get everything or you don't. There's just no in between.
Yeah, but now Alvin Kamara might really be the only thing that they have left now, because now that Taysom Hill is done for the year.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara had 112 rushing yards and also added 4 receptions for 7 yards. And yeah, that's basically it for that game. All right. I think we just have a couple of the afternoon games left here. Yep. Next one. Yeah, this was the other game that I got wrong. The Eagles and the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, what I said last week, the Eagles are the second best team in the NFL, and they showed why. They played at such a high level, especially defensively, and for the rookies to play that well defensively. I mean, it didn't show up on the stat sheet on Sunday night, but that's a credit to Vic Fangio and what he's been able to do.
Yeah, looking at the numbers. Yeah, Hurts didn't do much passing. 11 for 19. He got 118 yards and a touchdown, though. He also added a rushing touchdown. 29 yards rushing, a touchdown. Saquon Barkley was probably the biggest highlight of the night. 107 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
He also
how about that touchdown in the fourth quarter to basically put the game away?
Mm-hmm.
That was something.
Yeah. Yeah, Dallas Goedert got the other touchdown, but he might miss time now himself.
Yeah, and Dallas Goedert's not expected to play in the Eagles game coming up against Carolina on Sunday with that knee injury, and is considered week to week.
Mm-hmm. And looking at the Ravens side, Lamar Jackson went 23 for 36, 237 yards, and a couple touchdowns. Yeah, not much on the rushing game. Yeah, Derrick Henry had 82 rushing yards. Lamar Jackson added, he hit 79 yards. Most of that came in garbage time. He had a 40-yard rush on one of the last plays of the game.
Yeah.
And then Mark Andrews was probably the biggest highlight. He's slowly coming back. 6 receptions for 67 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and in six of his last 8 games, he's had at least 14 points in PPR.
Mm-hmm. And then Isaiah Likely added the other one.
Yeah.
Other than that, not really much production from the Ravens there.
Yep. And now on to the Sunday night game, and it was all sorts
Wait, I think
ugly for San
never mind. I think there's one. Sorry, yes, I know. Yep. Ooh, the Bills and the Niners. Yep.
Yeah, and it was all sorts of ugly for San Francisco. And San Francisco's highest scoring player in fantasy is now out for the rest of the season with Christian McCaffrey, only 8.7 points. And it was bad. Deebo Samuel only scored 4 points. Brock Purdy 2.16. Jawan Jennings 8.6. George Kittle only had 1 catch for 7 yards.
Yep.
It was bad.
Yeah, no highlights here. Yeah, and Brock Purdy also lost a fumble as well as Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, what would you expect with all those injuries and then having to go play in a snowstorm?
Yeah. Could this mean 49ers might not make the playoffs this year? We'll see.
I think they're dead, Natale. I think they're dead.
Yeah. Well, I think. Yeah, I think it all depends on who wins this West. I think probably only one team might make the playoffs here, and that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
I think it's only going to be 1 at this point.
Yeah. And then we're looking at the Bills numbers here. Josh Allen, 148 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, he was incredible.
Yeah.
What was it? He even had caught his own touchdown too, which was double the money.
Yeah, there was a whole fantasy debacle.
Double the points.
Yeah.
Remember when Ryan Tannehill caught his own touchdown in a playoff game for Tennessee a few years back? But
yeah,
but you got to start.
Was that?
I think it was the last year Kansas City played before Mahomes became the full-time starter.
Okay, so let's see. James Cook had 107 yards and a touchdown, but I think more than half of that came from a single run.
Yeah,
he had like a 60-yard touchdown or something.
Yeah,
and then the backup running back Ray Davis also added a touchdown. On the receiving end, nothing that much. The backup tight end Dawson Knox did the most work since Dalton Kincaid didn't play.
Right.
Other than that, the only receiving touchdown was by Mac Hollins. It was his only target. Yeah. And then the defense was very solid for them. All right. And now we have just one game left.
And it was the granddaddy of them all in fantasies with the Browns and the Broncos. And in a classic Jameis Winston game, it delivered 497 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 32.98 fantasy points for him. Obviously, not much on the ground because the Browns are playing from behind most of the time. But Jerry Jeudy, in his first game back at Denver since the Browns traded him to Denver during the offseason, a career best 235 receiving yards on 9 catches on 13 targets and 1 touchdown, 40.5 fantasy points. He was, of course, obviously the number 1 receiver in fantasy. David Njoku added as well 9 catches on 17 targets for 52 yards and 2 touchdowns. 26.2 points in fantasy.
Yep. Yeah, Elijah Moore also added 111 yards. Let's see. I think Nick Chubb had a touchdown. Let's see. Looking at the Broncos side, Bo Nix, he started off slow but had a nice bounce back. But that was due to like a 97-yard reception.
Yeah, very much so. And despite giving up nearly 600 yards of total offense, the Broncos defense scored 13 points. That thanks to 3 interceptions and including 2 pick sixes. So that was a highlight. Also, Marvin Mims was their best fantasy performer with 3 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. And 93 of those were on 1 play.
Yep. And also, Cortland Sutton also had a 100-yard game, 6 receptions for 102 yards.
As the Broncos were able to win.
And then 3 interceptions on defense.
Yeah. So talk about a wild week. In that portion of things, and that now we'll take a look at our league recap here. So I just hang on 1 second. Let me let me pull that one up on ESPN. Here we go. All right, so I officially wrapped up the number 1 seed in our league. I took down David by a score of 155.14 to 96.9. I had contributions all the way around, even though I got 0 from a big fat 0 from the 49ers defense, but it was a total team effort on my part, and even on the I left Keenan Allen's 20.3 points on the bench. Well, David, it wasn't going to win no matter who he was going to put up. So Andrew, took down Alex. He scored the most points in our league this week, 164.82 to 101.92. He had Jerry Jeudy, Bucky Irving, Bijan Robinson. They all went off, while Putnam had Josh Allen and David Njoku, and the running backs, the receivers, so many yards of offense for Andrew. It amounted to a dominating victory. Lucas and Adam. Lucas took care of Adam Oliver, 136.74 to 854. It wasn't one dominant performance. Nobody didn't do their part for Lucas. Another matchup between Tim and Natale, and this was the closest one in them all. Natale, you wound up beating Tim by close to 8 points in this one.
Mm-hmm. Got a lucky victory thanks to some garbage performance from Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah. That turned out to be big, and then
it is good to pick up trash, even if.
Yeah. Yeah, and you also and yeah, but also Brock Bowers saved you as well.
Yep.
Yeah, but since you don't have,
you left Hill on the bench.
Since you don't have a division to play for anymore, you're just it's just you, Dino, and Timmy just jockeying proceeding at this point, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, Dino has the easiest path. Dino wins. He gets the 3 seed no matter what.
Yeah, and then let's take a look at your matchup, Dino, because that path got easier with you beating Casey by a score of 151.96 to 124.88. So anything got to add to that with
going to be. I kept watching the game, and Denver kept going.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also to think that the Broncos were 6.5 point favorites, and that pick 6 changed so many things, because I guess think about the last 2 minutes of that game. The Browns had the ball. They were about to drive in for a winning field goal, and then Winston throws a pick 6. Broncos are up by 9 now, and then the Browns had another chance to cover. They had a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line, down 9, and all they needed was a chip shot field goal to make it a 1-possession game, and then Winston throws another pick to seal the deal. So talk about a bad beat right there, but I'll take it since we all had the Broncos to cover.
Mm-hmm.
There was 3 interceptions. I was hoping for another touchdown from it, but
yeah,
it didn't end up happening.
I mean, it wouldn't have decided the outcome of that one against Casey, but Yeah, so we'll get into our matchups for Week 14 in a little bit, but not before we go through some hot topics here, and of course the big story, one of the big stories in fantasy, the most pressing story ahead of Week 14 is the 49ers running back issue. Christian McCaffrey, PCL injury, out for the year. Jordan Mason was another shoulder issue for him. He's on IR. So Isaac Guerendo is going to be the running back one the rest of the season for Kyle Shanahan's San Francisco 49ers. So and in the two previous games that Guerendo in the previous 3 games that he's had at least a touch or at least some a component of play, he's either had a touchdown or a very big play. So I think I have never seen such a little known player be so universally loved because there are a lot of factors into this as well. I mean, you have 6 teams on bye this week. You have Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, Ramondre Stevenson.
Yep.
All those running backs are on bye this week. And you might have as a factored off that there are some managers that need to win this week just so they can get into the playoffs. So
Wow.
I sure helped Andrew this week.
yeah, you definitely you helped him there in terms of a path we'll be talking about in a little bit. So that was a story, but overall, I mean, so but what was the best thing you saw in fantasy last week, guys?
Yeah, probably that back and forth game with the Steelers and the Bengals.
I mean, to me, I think, so I got home from work last night with about 7 minutes left in the Broncos-Browns game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Talk about what a crazy what a crazy game that is, and also to think about Jameis Winston maybe providing some value for a team next year as a bridge quarterback potentially for 2025 and maybe even 2026.
Right.
Yes. So that's definitely a story. You mentioned there were three fantastic candidates for offensive rookie of the year. We talked about Brock Bowers, but then you also think about Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. So where you if you guys were to be one of the 50 Associated Press voters who votes for offensive rookie of the year, who would you guys be leaning towards right now?
Probably Brock Bowers.
Go with the Washington quarterback because he's on a winning team.
I mean, Denver's quarterback is also on a winning team.
That's easily. They're both.
Yeah, but both Washington and Denver would be in the playoffs if the season were to end today. So I think who's more and Denver's got a 2-game lead for the last wild card spot. I mean, Denver coming off the bye week has a big matchup with Indianapolis. Indy 2 games behind Denver, so it could very easily be an elimination game for the Indianapolis Colts in a couple of weeks from now. But in terms of fantasy injuries, we talked about that Dallas Goedert. He's probably going to be week to week, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on IR. CeeDee Lamb, of course, has had had a shoulder issue that's been plaguing him all season, and so with that, so. But also another name that you might be a little concerned about is that of course, had the monster game against Carolina, but after the game, he was seen limping with his hip. So he's been a hip injury, and we don't know if he's going to be able to go against the Raiders. So you're thinking about Sean Tucker. If you can't get Isaac Guerendo, I think someone you need to think about is Sean Tucker. Because if the Bucks if the bye week adjustment for Tampa was to run the ball more, I think you need to look at them running the ball as a means to win ball games, because it's worked the last couple of weeks against inferior teams, and again another inferior team with the Raiders coming up on Sunday. We could also take a look in terms of other fantasy injuries. Also, J.K. Dobbins was placed on injured reserve after we signed off the air last week, so his season is over. So they've been looking to others in terms of the running back.
I guess Gus Edwards is the starter right now. It's going to be worth picking up.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's see who else do we need to look at for week 14. Yeah, I mean there's things to note here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm checking NFL.com just to see if anything. I'm checking NFL.com just to see if anything broke in, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Well, that's right. We did mention Dallas Goedert already. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, Taysom Hill towards ACL, and he's out for the season. Jeff Ulbrich said that Aaron Rodgers is going to remain the Jets starting quarterbacks, and that's probably going to be the case going forward here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we have a small field of players to look at here. So why don't we go back to me sharing the tab here, and things here when this gets pulled up here. Yes. So this is where our league stands after 13 weeks. We have I officially wrapped up the 1 seed with the victory. Dino and Natale are both 9-4. Timmy is 8-5. And then in the Beavis division, Casey is 7-6. He would have clinched the division had Dino you lose to Andrew. So it's gonna set up we set up a couple of scenarios here with this. So the two of you and Timmy are going to be duking it out for seeding here. So I say with that we'll get into the week 14 matchups, and I think we should start with the matchup the only matchup that really matters this week. In direct purposes is the matchup between Lucas. Yes. So the winner of this matchup will go to the playoffs, and the loser will go home. And right now, Lucas is projected to win narrowly, 110.0 to 107.7. Lucas and Andrew, but Andrew has two empty spots, one for wide receiver, and he can choose with. Yeah, and he doesn't have another wide receiver because he's got Cortland Sutton and Josh Downs on bye, and he needs another defensive player, and because Roquan Smith has a bye week as well, and then meanwhile for Lucas, he's got to make a change because Jonathan Taylor is on his bye week. While everyone else is going to play. And also look at what Lucas has. He currently has 5 players going in the Lions-Packers game. Five out of his current 9. So
that's quite bold.
I mean, relying on this Lions offense to get him into the playoffs and to keep his champion or keep his hopes of repeating as a champion alive here. Yes. So the other matchup that kind of matters here, and I'm gonna have to reload the page because Jared Goff is not your quarterback for either one of you guys.
Yeah, he doesn't want to use the Lions quarterback.
Here we go. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, of course, because this is Natale's team. Right now, he's projected to beat Casey, 124.0 to 106.4. The last time the two of them matched up, Casey wound up beating Natale by 6 points last time.
Mm-hmm.
That was all the way back in week 2.
Yeah, but now this is a completely different team.
Yeah. You think Brock Bowers would be a fantasy monster, and Sam Darnold being a top 10 quarterback, and
I'm telling you right now that they're going to win. The Texans team is going to win.
It's like you think Casey's going to win,
and not his team is going to lose.
Yeah. Really? What makes you think of that?
Assuming he makes the right choices with his lineup.
Yeah. But let's see who you have. Who you guys have on your bench, because the Natale needs a defensive player this week.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bobby Wagner is off, and of course he has to start Sam Darnold because Lamar Jackson is off this week. So,
you can always start Jameis Winston.
Is Jameis Winston available though? And is there any need to waste a roster spot on
Wilson?
But Casey needs to put a receiver in and then pick up a kicker. So
yeah.
So we'll definitely be tuned into that. And that Tim's got David this week, and looks like Tim has to make some adjustments because both of his running backs, one of his receivers, his quarterback, and his deep ends are all off this week. And he's going up against David, who is projected to win 121.0 to 55.8.
Maybe next season there'll be 3 divisions.
And that meanwhile, I'm going up against Alex, and I'm projected at 150, while Putnam is projected at 100.5. And but this matchup really doesn't mean much because I have already locked up the number 1 seed, and Alex is already eliminated from postseason contention.
Yeah.
So with
Let's take a look at
that,
Dino's match. We didn't look at Dino's match yet.
so Dino's match.
Yeah, you didn't pull that yet.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
So, and who are you going up against?
I think he's going up against Adam, I believe.
Adam.
Oh, that
I beat him in the
explains
first
it.
matchup.
Yeah, so more than likely you'll have the 3rd seed locked up,
Yeah.
and then you'd play the winner of Andrew and Case, Andrew and Lucas.
Assuming that
Well, yeah. Lucas can't
Pick
move.
up
That's
a
right. Well,
defense.
Lucas can't move up. He can't, but Andrew can move up.
Lucas can only be the 6th seed.
Yeah.
If he wins, if he makes it to the playoffs.
So there's a possibility
but
too
right now,
that
you're
Dino could play
projected-
Casey then.
Now add the Viking defense to my total.
Yeah. It's but the thing is, if Casey wins, he's the 2 seed and gets the first round bye, and then it would be
Right.
at this point Dino and Lucas.
Yep.
Yeah. So those are all their projected numbers. You have Burrow, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown. Think about it. Chase Brown is the top 15 running back in fantasy this season, Natale. And I remember I was talking about him a lot during the offseason, during training camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
I definitely will be picking up a defense.
Okay. Oh, okay. You put in a waiver claim. Okay. I guess that's you're probably going to end up getting then.
Yeah, and you have a lot of depth at wide receiver, a lot of depth at running back. So
many good choices for defense right now.
Yeah, but now though, you just have to hope that Travis Kelce or Joe Burrow don't get hurt. If that's the case, you might be screwed.
Yeah, for this week, but
yeah. Yes. So that's officially everyone's projections for the week. So, Dashy has had a trivia question. So we'll start with his. So this week's trivia question: in 1994, Jeff Blake.
Head coach in 1994. Yeah, Flynn, I think you're frozen.
it's like time still fresh.
Yeah. He's probably refreshing. All right, we'll give him a second to come in.
Yeah, this one I don't know. We'll see if Flynn knows it when he gets in.
Yeah. Sure missed him.
Here we go. Yes, so Jeff Flake made his first career start with the Bengals, hosted trade from the Cowboys. Who were the head coaches for both teams?
Yeah, that one I don't know.
So one of them is easy,
No,
the other
one of
one
them.
isn't.
Yeah.
All right, Natale, you had a question?
Yeah, mine kind of sort of ties into on this day in NFL history.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. It says here in 1950, Tom Fears of the LA Rams caught an NFL record of 18 passes against the Green Bay Packers. But now, 50 years later, this player broke the record with 20 catches for 283 yards and a touchdown. Which player was that?
Jesus.
The date of that occurrence was December 17th of 2000. I'll give a hint. It was somebody from the San Francisco 49ers, and on that day they played the Chicago Bears.
All right. Okay, so now
Randy
here's
Moss.
I mean so
Randy
here's
Moss. Well, that's a good guess.
so it can't be Randy Moss because he played for the Minnesota Vikings that year. Here's my question. I mean, first of all,
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
so I mean, I definitely wanted to use that at one point. Okay, so here's my trivia question. So we mentioned Brock Bowers had a historic performance. So where he 10 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown. So he was the second rookie tight end in NFL history to have a game where he scored at least 30 plus fantasy points on the PPR scale. Well, who was the only other one to do it?
Wait, say that one more time.
So Brock Bowers became the second tight end in NFL history to have a game, as a rookie to have a game with 30 plus fantasy points. So who was the other player?
Oh, okay.
Jimmy Graham.
The last rookie tight end to have a 30 plus point performance in fantasy on the PPR scale.
It was a tight end. Okay, yeah, I think I have a guess in my mind, but
yeah,
guess I'll say my guess after we do the go through the schedule thing.
I'm going Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham. Okay.
And I'll give you a hint for that. He did it twice that season. So, yeah. So I think we have. We'll get to those the answers.
I know Tony Gonzalez would be another good pick.
Yeah. So, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But I think it's time to go through all the games for week 14 in the NFL, and we'll go through them all in detail here. So these are, of course, our picks for the week. Last week was a very good week for all of us in fantasy. Tim, Natale, and I all went at least 13-3 straight up, and at least 11-5 against the spread. So, and my reward for going 13-3 against the spread is I only picked up 2 games on both of them. So I'm 99, 93-3 on the season. First time all season I've been above 500 cumulative for the season. On the tally, 105, 87-3. Tim 111, 81-3. while in terms of the straight up department, Natale and Tim are tied for first at 135 and 60. While I'm 6 points, but 6 games behind at 129 and 66. So let's get through all. Let's do all these matchups. We've got the Lions taking on the Packers. The Lions are favored by 3.5 points, and I kind of feel like there's gonna be a lot of offense in this game. I mean, if Lucas is dependent on it because he has so many players starting on in fantasy in this game.
Yeah. This one's a tough one for me as far as picking the points goes.
The Lion Circus.
Yeah, you said most definitely, but I think it's gonna be a big game for Amon St. Brown again. I feel like this is going to be a David Montgomery special. So I think David Montgomery ranks a little higher for me than Jahmyr Gibbs. And I'm also looking at Jameis Williams as well. In terms of Green Bay, I'm looking for big games for Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. I think this is good, and I think, I'm not too warm about Josh Jacobs' outlook for the week because I think it's going to be a game where Jordan Love is going to have to throw the ball 40 times in this game.
Yeah, I can see this game going either way.
Yeah, most definitely because the Packers are 9-3, the Lions are 11-1. So,
Green Bay will win by 7.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's go to the Sunday games. You got the Jets and the Dolphins. The Dolphins favored by 6, and I got yeah. And I got to tell you that I'm kind of obsessed with some of these matchups for Miami because the Jets defense has been abysmal. I know they played fine against Seattle, but I think this is going to be a big game for Tua, another big game for Tyreek Hill. I think this is going to be another Devon Achane special of running the ball down the Jets' throats against a team that can stop the run. So not only do I have the Jets losing this game 35-20 to Miami, but the Dolphins are my lock of the week.
I disagree.
So that's that. The Minnesota Vikings are 5-point favorites at home against Atlanta. So the Falcons, of course, coming off a game where Kirk Cousins threw 4 interceptions, and the Falcons giving up 187 yards of total offense, but still a loss. But I think it's going to be a competitive game. I think the Falcons are going to bounce back and play much better offensively, but I just think this Falcons defense is just not trustworthy right now. So I'm looking at big games for Jordan Addison. I think it's going to be looking at a bounce back performance from Aaron Jones. So I think those are guys you want to start. Sam Darnold is definitely a quarterback streamer you should pick up this week because he's playing well and he's got a bad Falcons defense that he's gonna be up against. So we have that.
I'm starting Aaron Jones as my flex this week.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a bad idea at all.
I benched Kupp.
Yeah, I'm a Cooper Kupp going up against Buffalo, but but who are you looking for to have this Falcons-Vikings game to go off this week? Do you think it's going to be another big week for Bijan Robinson?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm looking for maybe Darnell Mooney to have a solid game.
Yeah. And I mean, another injury to monitor is Stephon Gilmore. Is a little banged up, so maybe a play for Drake London to go off as well here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. So I think it's going to be a competitive game because getting to Kirk Cousins playing against his old team for the first time. So, so I'm grabbing the points there with the Falcons, but I do expect Minnesota to win. All right, so we got the Saints 5-point favorites against the artists formerly known as the New York Football Giants. We all have the Saints winning big here. I have the Saints winning by 14 points, and in my other league, I'm starting Derek Carr, I'm starting Alvin Kamara, I'm starting the Saints defense in my win your win league. That I'm at. So I think all of them are going to have big games, and I think Kamara's going to be able to run the ball now that Dexter Lawrence is out for the season. So I think it's going to be a big game, a big day for the Saints to keep their slim playoff hopes alive here. So the Philadelphia Eagles, or as Tim likes to call them, those filthy chickens. 12-point favorites against Carolina. So he's got the Eagles destroying Carolina.
Yeah, that's also mine. But you don't have no need to do it twice though. No need.
Yeah. But I feel like it's going to be a game where Philadelphia wins ugly because Philly coming off that coming off a super high against winning at LA, winning at Baltimore, but I think it's going to be a game where the Eagles win ugly here. So I'm not feeling Jalen Hurts this week. Maybe Saquon, but I'm just not feeling it. But for Philly, in terms of playmaking, I think it's going to be a game where the Eagles defense is going to dominate and give the offense a week off to get ready for Pittsburgh next week. And speaking of the Steelers, you go to the other side of the state, and they'll be home, and they have an interesting matchup against the Browns, and I think it's going to be another high-scoring game because Joe Burrow just shredded that Steelers defense last week, and I think it's going to be a similar boat again this week. But it's I think 6.5 is too much for a division game like this, so I'm going to grab the points. Where Tim and I are grabbing the points here with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I just don't think the Browns are that good. So.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough, but remember the Browns just beat the Steelers 2 weeks ago.
True.
So they have some matchups in this game, like Jameis Winston, like maybe Cedric Tillman is gonna get back into things because he was a little missing in action from all the from the aerial assault attack of the Browns last night. So you have that, but otherwise, I think it's gonna be a big game for Ben Roethlisberger for Russell Westbrook.
I almost got him mixed up.
Yeah,
not NBA or NFL. Russell Wilson.
Yeah, the NBA has a ratings problem though, so So we have that. I'm gonna pick the I think it's gonna be a big game for George Pickens. I think this is gonna be another I think this is gonna be a Najee Harris special coming out of the backfield to make plays. So I think it's gonna be a good one there. So we got the Raiders and the Bucks. So I noticed Natale is going to grab the points with the Raiders in this one.
Yeah, this one I think it's going to be a lot closer than anticipated. Yeah, the Raiders are I mean they're not a good team, but Brock Bowers has been a very solid season. I think him and Jacoby Myers could get a touchdown between the two of them easily, making the game pretty close.
Yeah, I get that, but I also think Tampa is. I mean, Carolina played well against them. The Giants didn't. I think the Raiders not playing that division game this week like they did last week is that's going to be a little bit of an issue there. But I do think I do think Mike Evans is going to have a monster game though in this one. So. With that, same thing with Baker Mayfield and maybe Sean Tucker as well, because Sean Tucker might be available and someone you might want to pick up. this week of fantasy because it's against a favorable matchup there. So I have that as the match as a game there. We got the Titans and the Jaguars. The Titans are 3.5 point favorites here, and I understand that both Tim, you and Tim Natale have this as the garbage game of the week.
Yep. Yeah, there's a dumpster fire for both of these teams. Both these teams need to rebuild, start from scratch.
Definitely give me Jacksonville.
Ooh, you think Jacksonville's gonna win, but I do hear you though, but I think it's gonna be a close game. Because I think with the way Mac Jones played down the stretch of the game against Houston. But it feels like a very back and forth type of game here. If we're being honest here.
Yeah, it looks like you don't have one this week. The way it's looking.
No, I don't. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this one. But I think the matchups are going to be tough for Jacksonville's receivers, but I wouldn't be so surprised though if Evan what's his name, Evan Ingram. I think he's still playing right now, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has a big game this week, and get back to winning ways here. But that's the story. In terms of Tennessee, I think another big game from Nick Westbrook from NWI. I think he's catches another touchdown. And I think Tony Pollard is going to have a big game as well. I mean, I think you mentioned that the Tony Pollard question before with James Conner. So.
And definitely give me Seattle.
And then we'll talk about Seattle and Arizona. So the last time the two teams met, that was 2 weeks ago. It was a 16-6 game, but I think it's going to be a much better performance from Arizona this week because they want to show that loss wasn't a fluke, and Arizona really needs to win to stay in the NFC wildcard race and stay in the NFC West race because if Seattle wins, I think there are 2 games on Arizona with the seasons and the tiebreaker as well. So
Walker's going to find the end zone twice.
Yeah, I think I think this is the game where Trey McBride finally gets his first touchdown.
That's possible.
I mean he's had so many targets. He doesn't have a single touchdown yet. So Bills Rams. So Bills favored by 4. It's kind of an interesting matchup because you don't know what the letdown's going to be after Buffalo clinched the division on the 1st of December. But I still think Buffalo is going to win handily here. A big game for Josh Allen, big game for Amari Cooper, big game for James Cook.
Definitely Buffalo. Yeah.
So I think those are names you want to start, and then for the Rams, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Puka Nacua has another big game, a big day as well here.
Oh yeah, true.
I mean, if it's a game where the Rams are going to have to throw the ball 40 times, I think Kupp and Nacua have big games. So that's that. The 49ers are 3.5 point favorites at home, taking on the Chicago Bears here. So Tim has San Francisco winning and covering. Natale, you have San Francisco winning and you have Chicago covering.
Yep.
But I have the Chicago Bears in an upset special. Yeah, I think I mean the thing about it, the Bears have a +1 point differential and they're 4-8, and they just fired the coach who doesn't know how to manage the end of games. I mean, now they have someone who does. So I'm going to pick the Bears in an upset.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I can actually see that. That was a really close one for me.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I could tell it was one of the toughest games for you to pick against the spread.
I agree with the Bears winning.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Sunday Night Football, the Chiefs and the Chargers. I can't stress enough how much I love the Chargers. I mean that was one of the first games. Believe it or not, that was one of the first games I circled this week. So again.
If the Chargers were home, I would have done it, but I'm giving them the home field advantage here.
I mean, the Chiefs have been so fraudulent. I mean, they have the 11th best point differential this season. I mean, in theory, if you were to flip all their one-score wins, and turn all those wins into losses, they'd be 4-8 right now, and they'd
True.
be out of it.
Mm.
Yeah, but so then you have that. But I do think this is gonna be another Lad McConkey special. I think it's gonna be for the Chargers. I think the Chiefs. But what I really want to see the most in this game is whether or not Isaiah Pacheco is going to be a reliable commodity for managers come playoff time.
Right.
In starting next week. And then the nightcap, we got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. Cincinnati is favored by 5.5. I think Cincinnati is going to torch Dallas. I think everyone's. I think big games from Burrow, Brown, Chase, and Higgins. I think all of them are gonna go off. If you have them to just stuff them in, I think it's the Dallas's defense is not good, and I think Cincinnati is going to tear them apart to shreds.
Mm-hmm. I take it this is your lock of the week.
No, my lock of the week was Jets Dolphins, and you weren't there for that.
I'm locking in the Jets.
You're locking in the Jets.
Oh, okay, I see the point differential now.
Yeah, but and also in the league where I need to win and to get in, my two receivers I'm starting in my wide receiver slots are CeeDee Lamb and T Higgins. So it looks like my matchup's gonna come down to the Monday night game.
Man, I got T Higgins on my team, huh?
Yeah. So I mean, T Higgins has had some good games this season.
Mm.
So for that, those were all of our picks for the week. So now let us answer our trivia questions here. So I asked Brock Bowers, second tight end in NFL history on record to have over 30 plus fantasy points in a game in PPR formatting. Who was the other one?
Yeah. I was initially thinking Tony Gonzalez, but then again, Antonio Gates is also coming to my mind. Okay. But I'm going to go with Antonio Gates just to mix things up a bit.
So
Jimmy Graham.
All right. Oh, well. So if I gave you another hand, do you think I might narrow it down? Because you have to go way back to find the answer to this question.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't know that far.
So the year he did was his historic rookie season of 1961. Oh,
okay. I wouldn't know anybody from there.
And I'll give you another hint. The team he did this with, he coached them to a Super Bowl championship 25 years later.
Ugh.
Jimmy Johnson?
No, he was not a tight end.
Yeah, you got me.
The answer is Mike Ditka.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Hall of Fame tight end. He had a game like that against the Packers, and then the last game of the season he had one against the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm.
I wonder how he feels about only having one ring.
I mean, he actually won one he won one as a player with Dallas before he retired in '71.
2 rings, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Dashy's. Back to Dashy's question.
So he asked, this week's trivia question: 1994 regular season meeting, Jeff Blake made his first career head start when the Bengals hosted Detroit and the Cowboys. The head coaches for both teams. So Dallas's coach was Switzer because remember the offseason prior was the fallout between Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones. So Barry Switzer was Dallas's coach, but who was Cincinnati's?
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah, because if Dashy's still here, I guess he could reveal the answer.
Well,
yeah,
Jimmy Johnson is one of them for sure.
So here it is. The answer to the trivia question is Barry Switzer was the head coach of the Cowboys, and the head coach of the Bengals was Dave Shula.
Interesting question there.
Yeah, and then Natale's question.
Yep. This is going back to on this day in NFL history. In 1950, Tom Thiers of the then LA Rams, he caught an NFL record of 18 passes against the Green Bay Packers. This record stood for 50 years until this player broke it on December 17th of 2000. Well, here's a hint. He played for the 49ers at this time, and he had 20 catches for 283 yards, and it was against the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
So you got to think about the 49ers 2000 team, who was on it basically.
Yeah, once you gave the team away, you kind of gave the answer away. The answer, I think it's Terrell Owens.
Yeah, you got it. It was Terrell Owens.
Yeah. So because the year prior was Jerry Rice's last year with the 49ers before he signed with the then Oakland Raiders.
Yeah. I believe his record stood for about 21 or 22 years, but I think a player recently had 21 catches in a game. I forgot who it was, though.
What do you think about all my bench running backs?
Yeah, you got a solid team.
Yeah, I think he's got Tyrone Tracy as one of them.
I'm trying to see who broke that. Okay, it was Brandon Marshall who broke then that record.
Yeah,
Brandon Marshall had a 21 reception game.
I mean, you have Rico Dowdle, Tony Pollard, and Tyrone Tracy as your backup running backs.
Yeah.
And you have Aaron Jones in your flex, so you have a lot of options for your flex going into playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's week 14 in the books. Yeah, and next week is playoff time.
You know what's coming, right, Natale?
All right, go ahead.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yeah.
However, we definitely can next week.
Yeah. Next week on the podcast is going to be so that hopefully we'll have Tim back in the saddle to anchor our show, and then we'll be discussing the week 14 the last set of buys for for this campaign, and also to think of so many different players are going to be off this week. And I just want to go through a list right now.
Yep.
I will. Let me hop on. It's my fantasy page here.
Yeah, I know the Ravens are on a bye. Commanders are on a bye.
Yeah.
I think the Colts are on a bye.
Yeah. I know the teams, but I just want to know all the players that are owned by that are rostered in at least half of the leagues on ESPN.
True. Yeah.
So
players on the waiver.
Yes, so for Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Justin Tucker. Oh, by the way, Justin Tucker might be a problem going forward because he missed a couple of field goals last week.
Yeah. I had him last season.
He's already missed 8 field goals this season and 2 extra points. Let's see, Mark Andrews, and Deontay Johnson. Oh, but by the way, Deontay Johnson has been nothing since he only has 1 catch since being traded to the Ravens.
I guess the same could be said for Mike Williams.
The Jets couldn't have ruined him fast enough. Let's see. In terms of the Broncos, you have, let's see. You have Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, and Bo Nix off this week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it might be better off going to a league where it don't have defensive players. Let's see, Denver, Houston's off this week, so that means no C.J. Stroud, no Joe Mixon, Keami Fairbairn, Tank Dell is off this week, so all those players are on buys. The Colts, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, Anthony Richardson are all off. New England, you have
that Texan player is going to miss 3 weeks.
Hunter Henry and Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots, alongside Drake May, and then for Washington, Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Brian Robinson Jr., Zach Ertz, and the Commanders' defense are all off this week. So
right.
So a lot of players are on bye this week, guys. So
yep.
If you have guys from any of those teams, you have to find a very small pool of waiver wire of free agent possibilities from that. So.
Mm-hmm.
So just a couple of reminders that tomorrow night, hopefully, Alex is going to host his Pain and Gain Pick'em special over on his channel with Lucas, and hopefully Timmy will be back to form then. And then you can listen to my podcast, Hooked on Sports. I'm looking to record a podcast sometime tomorrow. About that, so we'll be so definitely be on the tune for that. Make sure to subscribe to my podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasting streaming services. And with that, I think that's going to put a bow wrap on this edition of Hooked on Sports. So thank you very very much for listening. Thank you, Dino, for showing up tonight to fill in some space for Timmy tonight.
Yeah.
And of course, we gotta thank our league commissioner, Mr. John Natale.
Yep, of course.
And we will be back. We'll hopefully be back here on the podcast next week to discuss the start of everything, all your big bets for Week 15 and the start of fantasy playoffs for most of you. But so until then, have a wonderful week, everybody, and we'll be talking to you next week. So long, everyone.